Okay, so today we are going to be going through a series of videos regarding compositional basic tools. This series is broken up in parts because I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information at once. So I'm going to post these in sections so that you can work along at your own pace and complete these tasks as you can. For the most part, once you actually get into the work itself, it'll be really, really quick to do it yourself. But there is still a good amount of talking and explaining and understanding and looking that we're going to do regarding these compositional tools. So this first video, I'm going to go over just what the series is going to be about. And then from there, it'll be the sections of the presentation broken down. Some key things to note before going forward is that all of these pictures are my own. I am, as always, expecting you guys to take your own pictures. I realize that in this stressful time that might be difficult to achieve, so do the best you can with what you've got, and just remember that practice is always what's going to make you better. So without further ado, I'm going to continue on with this presentation. So the contents. Why is composition important? We'll go over the relationship between the camera and the eye. Of course, we'll go over what the rules of composition look like, and when to break the rules. So for the first part, why is composition so important? The camera's reality is different than our reality. Our eyes are made of biological processes that exist within the biological world, and what we see reflects that. Cameras are this piece of technology with varying degrees of capabilities, and so our job as photographers is to translate this physical reality into this non-physical, this digital image. This works a little bit differently when it comes to film photography, but we're in a digital photography class, and mostly you're going to be working with digital components in the future anyways, so that's why the focus on digital photography. Next, the camera has a limited range of focus and exposure. If you've noticed, you have to control your depth of field and all of those encompassed within exposure to be able to capture the same kind of things that your eyes can. Now, our eyes focus on a broad area, and we can see a lot of things in focus at the same time, but cameras don't really work like that, and so we have to learn the technology and how to compose an image to kind of make up for where technology falls short. Film and digital discs have much narrower exposure range than our eyes. So as I was just explaining, we can see clearly off in the distance, we can see clearly up close, and we can see both at the same time fairly well, whereas cameras don't really have that capability. They have only narrow ranges that they can focus on at a specific time. Composition, in general, is how you'll capture what you want to express. So what we see, this is the camera reality versus our reality. It's different through the camera lens. So we see a rectangle with rounded corners, and we see in panoramic. And what I mean by this will be best shown through an activity. And if you would like to pause the video here to try this out, once I've gone through the instructions, you'll see what I mean. So start off by putting your hands straight out from the side of your body. How far back can you move your hands while still keeping them within your field of vision? It's pretty far, right? Have you ever tried to take a picture that captures that much range? It's impossible. You have to use the panoramic view or take multiple pictures or a video to get that kind of range. Similarly, put your hands up and down. How high up can you see while still looking straight forward? How high up can your hand be while you're looking straight forward and you can still see it? Or how low can you hold it while you still see it? It's way farther than you can see with a camera, right? If it's not, there might be something wrong with you and you might need to get that checked out. Or you might have an incredible camera. There are some cameras these days that can mimic the range that we see, but they tend to get this effect called a fisheye effect. where it makes everything kind of curved and rounded. And we don't see the world like that. So while technology is catching up to the human body and its capabilities, it's still not quite there. So our job as photographers is to take this panoramic reality and translate it and capture it into an interesting photo using these rules of composition. As such, there's way more than one way to frame a photograph. But our job is to see what is best for what we want to say. So here we have an example of a panoramic view picture versus a non-panoramic view. So these are both taken at the same location on the Hudson River, same July day in 2015. And you can kind of see that in the similar colors and the similar amount of light. But the top picture, the panoramic view, has actually many pictures stitched together to create one large, broad view. And that's much closer to the reality that I was able to see looking out over the river. Alternatively, in the non-panoramic view, that's just taking a single landscape orientation shot of the Hudson River. So while they're both beautiful views of that same beautiful night, one of them feels much more like reality, and the other one feels much more like a photograph. Next up will be rules of composition, so get ready to learn some cool things about how to take a photo.